Hello everybody and welcome back to Alchimie Forever's YouTube channel. I am here sitting with Ada Polla, who is the CEO of Alchimie Forever. Thank you so much for sitting down with me, Ada.
Good morning, Victoria. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And today we're going to talk about how Alchimie Forever got started, because it's one thing that you haven't really talked about that much online, and so I would love for you to share your story.
Yes, thank you for encouraging me to do this. I realized in prepping for today that it's true. It's a story that it's probably my favorite part of our story, and it's a story I spend so much time saying one-on-one, but it's nice to have it here for all of you.
Right.
So this story started with my father.
Mm-hmm.
He is the top dermatologist in Switzerland, Dr. Luigi Polla. And he did medical school in Switzerland and then did his postdoctoral fellowship at Mass General Hospital in Boston in the US. And that's really where the initial seed was planted. So he worked with Professor Rox Anderson, who's this genius guy, credited with inventing lasers for use on the skin.
Wow.
And then went back to Switzerland in 1986 and brought this technology with him. So he really was the first physician in Europe to use lasers on skin. So imagine, you know, lasers big, huge, like computers in the 70s.
And they take up the whole room.
They take up the whole room. They break all the time. They're these magical machines. But the first use of lasers on skin was actually a very medical application. It was for children who suffered from port wine stains and hemangiomas, so big red wine-colored birthmarks that, if not treated, could not only have an aesthetic effect but also some health consequences.
Right.
And so my father started treating these kids, and you know, the parents would bring them from Italy, from Spain, from France. I mean, he was the first and only to have this technology for a number of years. And imagine you have a baby who's born with this birthmark. You are going to go wherever you need to get this handled.
Yeah.
So these laser treatments were really intense, not like a photofacial, what we think of today. You know, you go in during lunch and you leave. It was
it's not a 45-minute treatment.
No, it was quite intense. It was very repetitive. You needed, you know, 6 to 10 treatments over the course of 6 to 12 months, and also these treatments were quite hurtful to the kids. I remember
very intense
children crying in my dad's office as I was growing up. It created redness, swelling, heat, inflammation in the skin. And so my father wanted to have a product that the parents could apply to their children's skin post-procedure to make the child feel better and to help heal the skin. He looked for such a product. He couldn't find one. And so then he has a friend who we still work with, who owns a pharmacy. Her name is Nicole. And you know, pharmacies in Europe, old-style pharmacies, compounding pharmacies.
Yes.
Which we don't really have that much here in the US.
Right.
But these amazing pharmacies where you can bring a prescription, and it's not a prescription for a box of pills, it's a prescription for this magical lotion.
It's like a recipe.
It's like a recipe, and the pharmacist makes it right there and then in the back, and then you leave with your own personalized cream.
Right.
And so my father created this recipe, as such a good word, for a post-procedure calming, soothing mask, which the parents were to apply to the children immediately, you know, as they got home for the next few days. And it would help with the redness, it would help with the scarring, it would help with all of these side effects. And what happened is that as the parents would bring the kids back, the mothers started asking for 2 prescriptions, one for their child and a second one for themselves, because apparently they had decided that this, you know, product smelled and felt so good for their children. They started using it on their own face.
Right.
And they were like, it gives me a glow, and I think my wrinkles are, you know, a bit less visible, and my skin is less red. And so it's really because of that that we ended up in the world of products. And you know, this first product that we created
ended up being the Contact Brightening Moisture Mask.
Exactly. So this is how we started with this brand. This is how my father started. You know, he didn't sit down in his office one day and say, okay, I'm going to create a product brand. And even after we had this product, for a while that was all we had. The next step was, instead of sending his patients to Nicole's pharmacy, he asked Nicole to pre-make a number of jars.
Right.
You know, now it looks
to make
nice.
life a little easier.
Yes, and it has all kinds of branding, and it's called Alchimie Forever. I mean, back then it was just a white plastic jar with a handwritten, you know, post-procedure mask.
A real labor of love there.
A real labor of love. But that's how we started, and we had, you know, this one product that ended up being so successful, and my father started thinking, well, if we have this one, maybe we can make more.
Right.
And that's how we ended up having Alchimie Forever.
Well, that is an amazing story that I hadn't heard of myself, so thank you so much for sharing. I hope you enjoyed listening and hearing this story. Stay tuned for our next video where we're going to go dive deeper into the brand.
See you soon.